I'm here at the United University Church on the campus of USC, where we are coming to attend the Summer Resistance Rally sponsored by the DNC and the CDP. We have a bunch of single-payer activists who are coming to this because we are curious as to what they're going to say about single-payer. I was told that I am not allowed to bring in my bag. I have shown them my bag. I have shown them that there's no signs in here, and still they're saying that they can't be allowed. And what was the reason? Because they could be used as a weapon. I'm like, a canvas bag can be used as a weapon. The only weapon we have here is our word, folks, and we are fighting our own Democratic Party, basically because they don't want to talk about single payer, and they don't want to talk about single payer because they get too much money from the health insurance industry.
Media check. Actually, if you're doing, yeah, we'll have you step down. This is the line for media right here.
Yeah, I am media. I am the robust opposition. I am independent media, and I'm also the Los Angeles Progressive.
That's great. So we're looking for people who are affiliated with
the mainstream corporate media. Exactly.
That is correct,
exactly.
Yes.
They feel that we're going to come in and disrupt something with our signs.
That's a First Amendment right. If they're not happy about that, then maybe they should start listening to us instead of pushing us off to the side and ignoring our concerns. And actually, if you look at this is one of the handouts they gave us. I just read it over. There isn't a single thing about healthcare in here.
Not a single thing.
And that's one of the most pressing issues right now at the immediate moment with the Trump care coming up that's estimated to kick 22 million people off their current health care.
What is the Recall Rendon campaign and why are you doing it?
We're doing it as part of multiple avenues in order to push Speaker Rendon to just release the bill. And we understand that there are a lot of corporate Dems in the Assembly, including Governor Jerry Brown, as well as really rich corporate Democrat lobbyists like David Townsend behind this, and we understand that it's business as usual. Any speaker, establishment Democrat speaker, would have shelved SB 562. We're sick of band-aids on bullet wounds. With people like Speaker Rendon, we will never get single-payer health care. We will never get universal rent control. We will never get public banking. We'll never get actual reform in education for high-quality public education. So we're expecting Speaker Rendon to not release the bill, and we're expecting to have to recall him and spend the next 6 months creating. We have a lot of professionals on board, and we already have organizers in 8063 and throughout Southern California. We're reaching up to Northern California and beyond because we're really hoping to be a beacon for the community of 8063, but also California and the nation on progressives and how when we organize well with bottom-up grassroots campaign that we can take on these high Democratic and just otherwise legislators and take on their millions of dollars.
What is your petition here?
National March for Healthcare for All. This is modeled after the Women's March. It'll probably be on the first anniversary of Trump's inauguration, the day before the anniversary of the Women's March. That's a tentative date. The petition on Move On is an organizing tactic to publicize the march. We are addressing it to President Trump, senators, and House members. And we say everybody agrees with President Trump that we need health care for all in this country. We'll deliver them on the date of the march all over the country to federal buildings, congressional offices. If you're in a small town that doesn't have either of those, to the post office. Or if you're in a really small town, just to the mailbox. We're going to go out on the same day in groups, though, and we're going to try to match the turnout for the Women's March, which was historic.
Now, what is your name and why are you here today?
My name is Vladimir Sidaj, and I'm here because I thought that the shelving of SB 562 was an abusive administrative process for special interest purposes. And I think it erodes public trust in the Democratic Party.
Ryan, why don't you update our audience who may be watching from other parts of the country what happened with our bill and update them on the prospects from here on out.
What essentially happened is Speaker Anthony Rendon, the one who's in charge of the bill, he's the one who assigns where it goes. He essentially shelved it in the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee in the Assembly's job is to send the bill to other committees for study and amendment. The problem with that is that in the Rules Committee, you can't debate or amend the bill. So essentially, he's killed it as it is. His excuse is that well, we need to include funding and all that stuff now. And of course, it's nonsense because Anthony Rendon knows full well that it takes a 2/3 vote to approve the tax increases needed to fund the bill. He knows full well that proposals have been made that would fully fund the bill. And he knows full well that any other issues that he has, like, for example, potential ballot propositions to finish it, can't be dealt with by his assembly. So what he's essentially done is say, we need to kill the bill so we can improve it, but we can't improve it if the bill is killed. So where that leaves us now is the Senate will need to rewrite a new bill, and then it needs to go back to the Assembly again. The problem, though, is I don't think even that's going to work because we have at least 10 to 12 moderate Democrats who will not support single payer, even if it's completed. The incomplete line is just an excuse for them to obey their corporate donors and say no. So really what it comes down to is picking the most vulnerable of them, getting them the hell out, focusing hard on them in 2018, and getting a more progressive assembly that will actually pass the bill.
What do you think of the Recall Rendon campaign? Do you think it's a distraction or just another tool in our toolbox?
Anyone who thinks that any political movement from the grassroots is a distraction is elitist as hell, doesn't matter what it is. So even if you believe that Anthony Rendon can't be beat, and you know what? He has all the establishment behind him, that may well be true. What you're still doing is going door to door educating people on single payer. You're still going door to door letting them know, hey, your speaker is acting up right now and you need to watch him.
So Eric, when you were running for state party chair, you happened to mention that we should vote for you because you have all the connections in the leadership and you could get our party platforms passed.
That's correct.
All right, so what are you doing to get SB 562?
I'm working very closely with our legislators to make sure that Medicare for All becomes the law in California.
How are you doing that? We need specifics.
I'm working very closely with our legislators to make it happen, Lauren. That's all I can say.
Mr. Ellison, I was a Bernie delegate. I ran Los Angeles for Bernie for a year. And
I'm trying to get started. Could you just maybe ask the congressman questions afterwards?
Oh, it's a very quick question. I want to know why he had security escort out an advocate of single payer the other day.
That's my phone.
No, I had nothing to do with that. Don't know anything about it.
You're on video on YouTube saying maybe security should escort him out because he's asking you.
Oh, you talk about at my community meeting
on health about single payer.
No, that's
come on, Michael,
you have it wrong,
take a photo.
Well, tell your side.
No, I'll talk to you later. You can say whatever you want to say later. Can you allow us to have our free speech as you are trying to cancel it out?
Why didn't the Democrats
So your answer is no, is that
single
right?
payer program? Why did they kick Bernie Sanders out of debates because he was talking about single payer in Glass-Steagall? And now you guys want to go on and on about the Republicans. The Democrats are as much to blame.
Can somebody call security?
Okay, especially, at least the leadership.
He wants to be pulled out of here, so let's accommodate him. I mean, that's what you want, because you won't let us continue on, right?
Well, why don't you want to reinstate Glass-Steagall? Like you should be bringing that up here because you want to do that.
Look, can we just get somebody
Nancy
to allow us to have
Pelosi won't let you do that?
Okay, we're going to have somebody help you.
Schumer and Pelosi work for Wall Street. Okay?
Let me tell you, we believe that everybody in America ought to be able to go to the doctor if you are sick. And anytime you try to take that away, we will resist that. The Democratic Party is absolutely committed to securing universal health care for all.
Single payer! Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now!
Single payer now!
Single payer now! SB 562 in California!
Are we together around here? We don't have to fall out over this. Let me tell you this. I want to tell you about Resistance Summer. Resistance Summer is about an intensive engagement in every inch of this country.
Resist Rendon!
We come together and fight.
Resist Rendon!
Kimberly! Kimberly!
Single payer now! 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 Single payer now!
Eric, we know that you took money to defeat Prop 61. Eric, we know that you took money to defeat Eric, we know you took money to defeat Prop 61. Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now!
Single payer now! Single payer now! Single payer now! So, we are here to robustly oppose the Democratic Party's failure on both the national and state level to support a single-payer Medicare for all system.
Yeah.
As a delegate, I watched the DNC and Clinton members of the Platform Committee tank Sanders' single-payer plan. When DNC Chair Tom Perez was asked if he supported single-payer, he could not answer with a simple yes. All he could say was, health care is a right, not a privilege. When House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi was asked by the New York Times if Democrats should make single-payer a central theme in 2018, she replied with a flat no. Quote, the comfort level with the broader base of the American people is not there yet, unquote. She is wrong. A recent poll shows 60% support for single-payer, including 75% of Democrats and a plurality of Republicans. For the first time in the 14 years since Representative John Conyers has been introducing his single-payer Medicare for All bill in the House of Representatives, more than 50% of Democrats have signed on. Yet the Democratic Party is not pushing this. Instead, they're organizing resistance rallies such as this to save the ACA, which was originally a Republican program crafted by the right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation. Forces people to buy a private product that they cannot afford to use. A program that siphons off 25% of every healthcare dollar to enrich shareholders rather than provide needed care. Obama said during the 2008 campaign that single payer was the way to go, but we would never get it. That is despite the Democrats having the presidency, the Congress, and the Senate. And what resulted was higher premiums, deductibles, co-pays, and decreased coverage. Here in California, 70% of Californians want single payer, and the Democrats have the two-thirds majority needed to pass the tax to get it. Yet Assembly Leader Anthony Rendon just killed SB 562.
Recall Rendon!
Eric Bauman, the disputed chair of the CDP, issued a public statement expressing disappointment. But behind the scenes, he was circulating an article which slammed the bill as unrealistic and accused the Nurses Union of deceiving supporters. Why do the DNC and the CDP not fight for single payer? As always, the answer lies with money in politics. The health sector, including insurance and pharmaceutical firms, for-profit hospitals, and medical device manufacturers, spent more than $500 million on lobbying in 2016 alone, and spent several billion in the last decade.
Recall Rendon!
In 2009, more than 1,750 companies and organizations hired about 4,525 lobbyists. That is 8 lobbyists for each member of Congress. As for direct campaign contributions, Nancy Pelosi got more money from health services than any other industry. $338,000 in 2015-2016 alone. During her campaign, Hillary Clinton, who said we will never, ever, ever have single payer, almost gleefully took $3.5 million from the health sector. And a recent analysis showed that California Assembly Speaker Rendon, who just tanked the bill, took more than $700,000 from the health industry.
Recall Rendon!
Recall Rendon!
Recall Rendon!
Currently, the health industry makes billions every year from denying people care. If, as DNC Chair Tom Perez says, health care is a right, not a privilege, we have to end this perverse system where a private industry gets to control who gets health care or not. And the only way to do this is to enact a single-payer Medicare for all style system.
I just want to share with you guys a couple of stories. We on Skid Row every week, pretty much every night, and recently came across a man who was just released from the hospital 3 days ago. He was released from the hospital on Sunday. We came across him on Monday night. He was having gastrointestinal bleeding. He was in a hospital gown. He was holding on to a wheelchair. He was throwing up and having diarrhea, and it was all blood over the sidewalk. He had been released early because hospitals are releasing people out because they can't cover patient costs. We are losing people every day. We're seeing people who are becoming homeless because they can't afford to pay their health care. We're coming across single moms with kids who can't afford to give their kids basics like antihistamine because everything, it's too expensive. We need people to release SB 562 now. Thank you.
Release the bill! Release the bill! Release the bill! Release the bill!
I'm here today to warn both the state and national Democratic Party not to continue down this disastrous path of the last 8 years where they've lost over 1,000 seats nationwide, including all branches of the federal government. And although California is a blue state, the California Democratic Party has fallen victim to the power being wielded indiscriminately by the corporate lobbyists as they've strayed, taking offense on important issues like health care. Today, Congressman Ted Lieu, Vice Chair of the DCCC, will undoubtedly and has propagated their new communications campaign to the 2018, including "She persisted, we resisted," and Democrats, I mean, have you seen the other guys? As a marketing executive, I can tell you that without a doubt, from a messaging standpoint, the Hillary 2016 campaign was one of the worst of all time. It didn't stand for anything. It was non-stop attack on Trump. To me, it appears as if nothing was learned from last November's defeat, even after 14 million people left the Democratic Party as part of Demexit. I don't know, but maybe it's because instead of doing a post-mortem, people like Ted Lieu have been spending all day tweeting or appearing on mainstream media, ranting on about Russia this, Russia that. Did you guys know that Ted actually tweets twice as much as Donald Trump? Well, I'm here today to tell you that this is not a time to defend or to distract with things like Russia. This is a time to be on the offensive and to actually stand for something. We need to stand up for what we claim to value as a party. We need to stand for what we, the people, believe in and need. We need to stand for healthcare for all. Woo!
Yeah! Single payer now.
We are in what can only be called a state of emergency. Today alone in California, 5 people will die due to lack of insurance. That's almost 2,000 people a year. Or to put it in other terms, in 20 months, that'll be equal to the tragedy that happened on 9/11. And this is preventable. The numbers at a national level are staggering. There are over 29,000 people a year dying due to lack of insurance. In California, the Speaker of the Assembly, Anthony Rendon, needs to move forward on 562, the Healthy California Act, and needs to move it into committee. If not, he risks having the blood of countless Californian lives on his hands. Eric Bauman, former employee of Rendon and disputed CDP chairman, needs to lead and rally support from across the state to pressure the Speaker. California, this is our fight, and I'm here to tell you that the Democratic Party needs to choose sides. It's either us, the people, or the insurance industry and lobbyists. Thank you.
I am a resident of the city of Southgate. I have been a resident for the past 10 years. As a former commissioner on the Citizens Advisory Committee for the city of Southgate, I participated in the review of community development block grants requests for nonprofits and community organizations in District 63. Today, I would like to make a few points as to why Recall Rendon was started and what we're doing. A recall is a procedure by which voters may remove an elected official from office through a direct vote before their term has ended. Rendon abused his position as Speaker, preventing SB 562 from moving forward. That is why Recall Rendon was started to help SB 562 move forward and help provide health care to every Californian, no matter their income, occupation, or health status. While helping my mother at her party supply store in Southgate, I have heard stories from people about the struggles they have with health care, including my mother. My father left my mother several years ago, and as a result, he terminated her health care coverage. My mother, who has been self-employed for the past 14 years, had to purchase health care insurance. But when she inquired as to the cost, she realized she had to choose between making a health care insurance payment or the mortgage payment. She decided for the latter and was therefore left without coverage for many years until Obamacare. We at Recall Rendon strive to inform Speaker Rendon's constituents about the actions of Speaker Rendon, since most of his Assembly District 63 is populated with low-income, undocumented constituents that lack such information or are just unaware. We also want to provide residents of Assembly District 63 with all the help necessary in order for them to decide if they want to pressure Speaker Rendon to change his course and release SB 562, or recall and replace him with someone who will adequately defend Assembly District 63's interests. With that said, Recall Rendon is actively recruiting residents of Assembly District 63 to join our campaign, both as volunteers and in leadership positions. We must continue gathering signatures to Recall Rendon. We hope you will join us continue to forge this coalition and work to protect both Assembly District 63 and the entire state of California. You can find us on Facebook, #Recall Rendon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Recall Rendon!
Recall Rendon!
Recall Rendon!
Recall Rendon! Dear California Democratic Party leader, we are writing to present another point of view on Speaker Anthony Rendon's decision to hold SB 562, the Healthy California Act, in Assembly Rules Committee and not allow it to move through the Assembly Committee process and to the floor as it did in the Senate. We have watched and listened with a sense of amazement as certain parties, including some Democratic-leaning pundits and Democratic operatives, have engaged in a public campaign to make the Speaker's action look like an unselfish act of courage and statesmanship. To the contrary, the enclosed document employs carefully reasoned factual arguments to demonstrate that the Speaker has in fact placed himself outside the Democratic mainstream by making this move. We sincerely hope you will take the time to read the document as we believe it and help you better understand the impassioned reaction and sense of betrayal that the single supporters are now exhibiting. So why are we here? Why are we here as some of us as Democrats? Why?
Free SB 562.
SB 562.
Free it.
We feel betrayed that SB 562 is being held up on a shelf by Speaker Anthony Rendon. He has stopped the legislative process, the democratic process. Stand with the nurses because they'll be standing by your bedside one day.
I am a doctor. I don't just play one on TV. I'm an emergency room doctor for 30 years. And as a practicing physician, I see people who fall through the cracks and end up in my emergency room with life-threatening conditions that could have been prevented, right? So people are cutting their pills in half to send their kids to college, are ending up with uncontrolled diabetes, high blood pressure, and that results in strokes and heart attacks. But it's way worse than that. It's untreated dental infections. You know, people are going to Mexico to get their dental care. We don't have to do that. In civilized countries, that doesn't happen. SB 562 covers dental, mental health, long-term care, rehab. I mean, how much of our homeless problem is because of long-term mental health and rehab? So if we took care of those problems, you know, instead of just trying to turn our backs on them, then we're moving things forward. Our message to the DNC is resistance is not enough. It's not enough to resist. And when Hilda Solis says, you know, say resist, and then she says, si se puede, no, it's all about the si se puede. It's all about what we can do and what we need to do, not just resist. No is not enough. No is not enough. No is not enough. No is not enough. What we need is healthcare, not warfare. Healthcare, not warfare.
Healthcare, not warfare. Healthcare, not warfare.
This is our civil rights moment, folks. People were saying in there, you're being rude. Did they tell Martin Luther King that he was being rude when he was sitting in on the bus boycott or sitting in on the lunch counters? This is a movement. We're not going to be here. Just like at the Democratic National Convention, we weren't going to be part of their dog and pony coronation show.
Yeah.
We organized the TPP protest.
Yep.
We organized the No War protest. We organized the ban fracking protest on the floor of the Democratic National Convention. Even though they turned the lights off on us, even though they put the white noise machines, even though they tried to get seat fillers to take our seats, we prevailed. And we weren't going to sit down, and as Kimberly Ellis says, as California goes, so goes the nation, and we are going to be leading this fight for single payer. We are down, but we are not out.
Hi, Mr. Bauman.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How is the event inside?
It's great. Lots of energy, lots of folks. We're fighting for all the things we believe in. Healthcare, immigrant rights, workers' rights, all the important stuff.
What are we doing to tell Mr. Rendon to please take SB 562?
There is robust discussion going on to make sure that we're able to get to a Medicare for All plan that will pass.
Well, is it going to be SB 562, and will it be this year?
I can't answer that question because I'm not in the legislature. I can tell you that there certainly are discussions going on because those members believe in health care for everybody.
How close are you to Mr. Rendon? You worked with him.
I used to work with him.
Well, can you just call him up and tell him this is a pressing issue? We know what's going on in Washington, D.C.
Anthony Rendon has made perfectly clear that he supports single payer. He has said that.
Well, why is he tying it up in the assembly? And it's not making any progress.
Why isn't he helping progress the bill?
Well, I think
he supposedly supports.
I think, as he made clear in his statement, that he believes that there are deficiencies in the bill, and there are discussions going on about how to fix that. But that part of it is a discussion between legislators. I can assure you that we have talked about this issue, and he has repeatedly made clear that he supports single-payer health care.
Why not take a lead in
I think we have. And if you've read the if you've read the statements that we put out and the work that we've done, you know that.
That's all you've done is statements, though. How about going out in front of his office? How about having a when have you had a face-to-face discussion with him regarding this?
Well, actually, you don't know what discussions I have had and I haven't had. So please don't make assumptions.
I don't want to make assumptions, sir, but can you please give us specifics? Can you please, sir?
I think I've answered your questions quite clearly.
Thank you for speaking with us. I just want to say
and listen, by the way, I understand every bit of frustration folks have here. I've spent 30 years on this issue. To me, there is no greater moral imperative than health care for every single Californian and every single American. So please, don't think because you may not see what I'm doing that I'm not doing anything.